Latif, as I have told you, we must operate within the parameters of the rule of law. And I agree with you. The police must never act outside the framework of the rule of law. They must do that which only the Constitution and the law allows them to do. And it is very clear that any operation of the police outside the parameters of the law, the police will be held to account. Whether it is holding citizens beyond the stipulated time, but I must be thoroughly clear to you. When police arrest somebody, there is a constitutional timeline which they are allowed by the law to hold that person.
24 hours.
That does not amount to an abduction.
24 hours.
In my opinion. A case in point is what has just been said here about what happened earlier today. And you guys clearly said in this conference that it was an abduction. I mean, it's just clear now that it is not an abduction.
They are not
this is an arrest. And the police have come forward to say, this is the situation, we have arrested this person, and it is just good for us to all of us follow the law. And I agree with you, the police must act within the law. But let me ask you one question also, Latif. I have never, in this conversation, which is now 20 minutes in, are you guys bothered about the fact that Parliament was burnt? Are you guys concerned that millions of businesses, of Kenyans, hardworking Kenyans, were destroyed? How do you feel?
But it all
how do you feel?
It all happened under your watch, Mr. President.
No, but this is
at the end of the day,
this is why we are saying
you sought to keep us safe.
We must be even. You know, we must be even. The police have a difficult job. They have to make sure the peaceful demonstrators are protected. But they also must make sure that the criminals, and when you say criminals, you know, when I said the other day criminals, many people took offense that I was calling the demonstrators criminals. That's not.
Families of the dead, Your Excellency,
that is not. That's
a lot of offense. Family of Rex. Rex was killed in a week when the protesters were very peaceful. The first week of these protests were peaceful. We saw protesters carrying
placards
and water bottles.
Rex was killed on his way out of work.
Let me.
How do you feel? I mean,
let me tell you
when they hear you say criminals.
I mean, are you telling me Rex is the one who burned Parliament?
But Rex died without breaking anything.
No, I'm just telling you.
He died.
You know, Rex
there are criminals who infiltrated and caused mayhem. And in fact, some of the criminals are actually harmed. They actually harmed the peaceful protesters. Many of the peaceful protesters, they lost phones. They were attacked. In fact, some of the peaceful protesters were attacked by criminals, including a clear example of the one I have explained to you, that they overpowered the police, took the gun from the police, and started shooting innocent people. So we must deal with this situation globally.
Mr. President,
I feel for Rex and the mother. This should not happen to any child in Kenya, especially when they are engaged in a peaceful demonstration.
Mr. President, the concern I've heard from the young people, because I've been speaking to a lot of them, and they said they haven't heard you in the two statements. Actually, there are more now because you have spoken in other settings apart from the two addresses you gave. They haven't heard you address them. They haven't heard you talk to these parents. They haven't heard you acknowledge that there were people who were shot by police in circumstances that did not warrant that. Are you saying you haven't seen anything that bothers you about how police responded to these protests?
I am very, and I have, and in my first statement, I clearly said that innocent lives were lost. In my second statement, I said the same. There were innocent lives lost. But also equally, as a person who is responsible, I must think about those who are suffering because they were innocent, but I must also be concerned about those who are suffering because criminals cause them immense harm. And that is the balance that I need to be able to lead a country. I must protect everybody. I must protect the protesters, and I must be concerned about their lives. I must also protect innocent people who become victims of criminals who take advantage of a peaceful, democratic process that goes on in our country.
Do you feel that you protected all those people in the last couple of days, whether it is people who have businesses, whether it is Parliament, whether it is the people who lost their children?
I did my best. If I hadn't done what I did, things would have been much worse. In fact, many people ask me, Mr. President, why did you call in the army? I mean, what choice did I have? I mean, it would have been very reckless of me in the face of the kind of harm people had gone through, the 19 lives that were already lost, in the face of a burning Chief Justice office, Parliament, and the rest of it. I mean, it would have been very reckless of me not to mobilize every arm of government and every arm of our security agencies to protect the country and to protect lives.
You acted as Commander-in-Chief. You also acted as President, Head of Government, and the person who took the sword and promised to protect the people of Kenya. You chair the National Security Council, which brings in the head of the police, the head of the intelligence, the head of the military, and cabinet secretaries in those dockets. Did you have information prior to Tuesday that there was going to be infiltration of the peaceful demonstrations by the criminal elements that you've talked about more than once? And if you did, what did you do about it?
We had information, and that is why we prepared in the manner in which we did. If we hadn't prepared in the manner in which we did, we would not be counting 19. We would be counting different numbers.
Okay.
And I am telling you that the level of mobilization by criminals was heavy. In fact, many of the peaceful protesters, many of the young people, very well-meaning young people, left the town by 10, maybe 11, because they realized, and in fact you could hear them in their zelo. They were saying, guys, this is not our group. Let us go. Let us leave. You could hear them. It was in public domain that the peaceful demonstrators all of a sudden realized that the whole thing had metamorphosed into criminality.
So there were criminal elements that basically hijacked. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it is Sunday. Mr. President, how many people are in custody on account of this? Those who you said they conducted treasonous activities, there were criminal elements.
You will see them in court tomorrow.
How many people are in custody?
You will see them in court tomorrow. The police know what I have a ballpark brief by the police that they have enough people. They have actually, because in Kenya nowadays, you cannot commit crime and get away with it. Those who attacked Parliament are on CCTV. Those who attacked the judiciary are on CCTV. Those who attacked everywhere, those who destroyed people's shops are on CCTV. Many of them are on the run, but we will catch them.
Similarly, Your Excellency.
Are the funders
Similarly, Your
and
Excellency.
financiers in custody?
Similarly,